Good morning, folks. My name is Hitzemann, County Court Judge here in Hernando County. You folks are here for your first appearance. The purpose of the first appearance is so that you may be informed of the charges against you. I'll determine if there's probable cause for those charges. Probable cause simply means that it's more likely than not that a crime has occurred, and more likely than not that you're the person that committed that crime. Of course, as you stand before me this morning, I presume that you're innocent of these charges. That presumption of innocence will stay with you through every stage of these proceedings, unless and until the State Attorney's Office can prove the charges against you beyond and to the exclusion of a reasonable doubt. We will set your conditions of pretrial release this morning, that is your bail or your bond. In most cases, you've had a bond set already pursuant to the bond schedule here in the 5th Judicial Circuit, where the warrant which led to your arrest. I'll determine if that bond should be raised or lowered or left the same, or whether there will be additional conditions of pretrial release placed upon you. We'll let you know when your next court date will be. If you'd like to have the services of the public defender, I'll gladly appoint the PD to represent you this morning. You do have a right to have contact with folks on the outside, family, friends, counsel. If you have not had a chance to make that call, please let me know, and we'll make sure that that happens. Finally, and most importantly, you're advised that you do have an absolute right to remain silent with regard to the facts which surround your arrest. I encourage you to do that. These proceedings are recorded. In addition, there is an assistant state attorney in the courtroom with me. If you say something that tends to incriminate you, it will be used against you in the prosecution down the road. I now need each and every one of you there at the jail to please raise your right hands and be sworn. Y'all solemnly swear or affirm, tell truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth. Outstanding. If you hear your name called, please step forward to the podium. Kelly Montgomery. Morning, Kelly. What's your date of birth?
2/27/96.
Kelly, the charge this morning is possession of drug paraphernalia. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You want to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the public defender. State what can you tell me?
Let's see. Montgomery has open case 17 MM 4511 in front of this court.
Okay. When's that? Do you know when they're coming back, Joe?
2/15 for pretrial.
And do you know what the charge is?
Possession of drug equipment.
No, okay. Very good. That would be sufficient.
Yeah, and then of course there's the drug-related priors, theft, possession of paraphernalia, both in 2017.
All right. And Kelly, I've got an address for you on Rock Duck Avenue in Brooksville. Is that where you live?
No, sir.
Where do you live now?
17605 Overstreet Lane.
How long have you been there?
9 years.
Okay. You have a job these days?
Yeah.
What do you do?
I'm working at Wendy's right now.
Okay. On this charge, Kelly, I'm going to set your bond at $1,000. I'm going to move this to the 15th of February where your other case is. But then, because it appears you were out on pretrial release and picked up a new charge, pursuant to Florida Statute 903.0471, I'm going to revoke your bond in 17 MM 4511. So we're going to hold you without bond until next week when you're back in court on the 15th. And then we'll take care of both of these misdemeanor charges then, all right? And the public defender will come see you at the jail before you come to court next week. Thank you. Terry Nita. Want to tell you what you did at birth?
4170.
We got two warrants here. Each of them is for failing to appear on a misdemeanor case. As for those charges, I think they're both possession of paraphernalia. You want to represent yourself. You want to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the public defender. I'm going to leave the bonds per the warrants, which is $2,000 on each case for a total of $4,000. I'm going to change the date. They told you March 2nd. We're going to have you back next week, which is the 14th of February. If you get out, you should go see the public defender right away. If you can't get out, they're going to come see you at the jail before court, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Nicole Payne.
Hey, shut your mouth.
Morning, Nicole. What's your date of birth?
12/11/88.
Nicole, you're here on a writ of bodily attachment. That means that a circuit judge and a child support hearing officer determined that you owe some child support. They set a cash purge of $660. Is that an amount of money that you can pay today, Nicole?
Not at this time, no, sir.
Okay. Are you working these days?
Yes, sir.
What do?
I work for a cleaning company and Subway.
Okay. And let's see. And Nicole, if there was, is there any amount of money at all that you could get to the jail today if it meant getting out of jail?
My mom may be able to pay a little bit.
Okay. How much do you think?
Like 100, maybe, possibly.
All right, so what I'm going to do, Nicole, is find you in contempt for not paying child support. The sanction for the contempt is 10 days in the county jail starting today, or until you come up with $100 cash. So if somebody brings $100 to the jail, you get out anytime during that 10 days. Otherwise, you'll do the whole 10 days. No matter what happens, once you get out, you should go see the people at child support right away. Because if you don't take care of this problem, this process will start over again, and you'll get arrested again, okay?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Thank you. Amber Phelps. Ms. Phelps, what's your date of birth?
1/20/81.
Ms. Phelps, you're here on a warrant signed by Judge Merritt. Apparently, you failed to appear in his court on 4 counts: trafficking in amphetamine, possession of controlled substance ×2, and possession of paraphernalia. As to those charges, you're representing yourself. You got private counsel. Would you like a public defender?
I have private counsel.
All right. Does your lawyer know where you are today?
As far as I know.
The bonds on Judge Merritt's warrant are no bond on all 4 counts. I can't change that. I will send you back to see him on the 6th of March.
Your Honor, Mr. Helms, the prosecutor on this case, just stopped by and asked if she could be put on February 8th.
I think that would be great. We're going to have you back in court on Thursday, Amber, on February 8th, okay?
On Thursday, February 8th.
Yep. Very good. Thank you. And Brandy Reynard.
Yes, sir.
Brandy, what's your date of birth?
5/14/85.
Brandy, you're here on a warrant that I signed. I found probable cause for 1 count of grand theft. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You want to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
I've spoke with Cheryl Powers. If I could get a bond, I can continue to pay her to represent me. I currently have a full-time job in my own house and everything, and I've stayed within the terms of my probation.
Okay.
There should be a VOP forthcoming on that probation, Your Honor, in front of Judge Tony.
I'm head chef at the yacht club at Shipwreck Yacht Club in Indian Shores, and I've got a payment arrangement with Cheryl Powers. I've discussed this with her previously before the warrant was issued about the situation. It was a civil dispute that's now turned to this.
Okay. Well, what it's turned into obviously is a criminal charge. So here's the issue. I'm going to leave the bond for the warrant, which is the $2,000. But
Yes, sir.
you need to understand that the state is telling me that the warrant is coming, and the felony VOP warrant is going to have a bond of no bond. If you spend money getting out, you may lose that money when you get arrested on the warrant for the VOP.
As long as I can get out, I'll come back for the VOP, no problem. I just have to be able to finish paying her off.
I'm just letting you know. So this one is going to be back, set the bond at $2,000. This will be back on the 26th of February.
Yes, sir.
If you hire Ms. Powers, make sure she knows about that date, okay?
Yes, sir.
You?
That was the toner date, right?
Right. Gary Mims. Morning, sir. What's your date of birth?
9661.
Area the charge is possession of drug paraphernalia. There's probable cause for the charge. As to that charge, you wish to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like a public defender?
Private counsel.
Good. State, can you tell me?
Did he say speak up?
No, you're good. Hang on a second, Gary.
Let's see, we've got possession of cocaine in 92. That's pretty far back. Let me try to find something a little newer for you. If there is anything. Just the really old stuff.
And Gary, I've got an address for you on Broad Street here in Brookfield. Is that where you live?
Yes.
How long have you been there?
3 years.
Do you have a job these days?
I'm an electrician.
Okay. You do that for yourself or you're working for somebody?
For myself.
Okay. All right, Gary, I'm going to release you on your own recognizance, so we'll let you out today. You must be back in court on the 2nd of March. Very important when you speak to an attorney, you tell them about that date, okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Good luck. Marcus Bennett.
Yes, sir.
What's your date of birth?
02289.
Marcus, the charge is battery being domestic in nature. There's probable cause for the charge. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
The public defender, please.
I'll appoint the public defender. State what you tell me.
Let's see, theft, 2005. Sex offense, 2005. Unlawful interference with school function in 2005. That's a good one. Let's see. Trespassing, 2007. Egg assault with a deadly weapon and a battery. Actually, that was put down to an improper exhibition of a firearm and a battery back in 2008. Possession of cocaine with intent to sell, 2008. Burglary and theft, 2011. Ag bat, 2015. Grand theft, 2016. Let's see what else. And uttering a false instrument in 2016.
And Marcus, have an address for you on Roper Road. Is that where you live?
No, sir.
Okay, where do you live now?
I stay in Bushnell, Florida.
Okay, what's the address in Bushnell?
10347 Southwest 60th Terrace.
Okay, and do you live with Ms. Grant?
No, sir. That's my girlfriend.
Okay. You have a job these days?
Yes, sir.
What do you do?
I'm harvesting, sir.
Okay. All right. Marcus, I'm going to set your bond at $1,000. Condition of the bond is that you have no contact with Ms. Grant. No contact means no contact of any kind. You don't call, you don't write, you don't email, you don't text message. You don't contact her through any social media. You don't have a third person contact her. Don't go where she lives. Don't go where she works. Don't have any contact of any kind. Any way that you might imagine contacting her, I forbid you to do that. If you have contact and we find out about it, your bond can be revoked and you can be held without bond until the charges are resolved. It means no contact even if she wants the contact. So if you answer your phone and hear her voice, you should hang up. If you're out and about and see her, you should turn around and run the other way. You need to understand that she cannot drop the charges against you. That is not a decision that she gets to make. She may go to the state attorney's office, and she may ask them to drop the charges. She may tell them she's not interested in pursuing this matter. But that decision belongs solely to the assistant state attorney who will be handling your case. So unless that person or the judge on your case tells you the charges are dropped, you should assume they are not dropped and you should not have contact. In addition, I've got to hold you today at the jail up until 4 p.m. so that if she wanted to serve you with a civil injunction for protection against domestic violence, we'd know where to find you. If you get the civil injunction, it's doubly important that you not have contact, because in that case, not only could you get your bond revoked here, but you could get new charges for violating the injunction. I'm going to have you back in court on the 6th of March. Very important, Marcus, that you go see the public defender when you get out, all right?
Okay, I got a question, Your Honor.
Sure, go right ahead.
How I go about getting my property that's done? My vehicles and stuff.
Okay, well, that's why I asked if you guys live together. If you have stuff where she lives, you can't go by one time to collect your things. You've got to contact the sheriff's office first. They'll meet you there with a deputy. You can pick up your things and get going where you're going, all right?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Good luck. Joseph Carey. Want to start with your date of birth?
1/17/73.
Joseph, I got 2 charges today. I've got driving on a suspended license and driving an unregistered motor vehicle. And first question I have is, are you currently on probation for DUI, Joseph?
Yes.
Okay, is that here in Hernando County?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, very good. State, what else can you tell me?
Yeah, he just pled on 12/12/17 for the DUI. Let's see, we've got PTI on a domestic battery, 2001. Criminal mischief, 2003. Trespass, 2005. Worthless check, 2007. Of course, there's a couple of those. There's never just one. Let's see. Theft, 2015. Southern Willis, 2015. DUI in 2017. That's the probation case, and that came with a Willis as well.
All right. And Joe, I've got an address for you on Evanston Street in Weekiwachi. Is that where you live?
Yes.
How long have you been there?
About 8 years.
You got a job these days?
Yes, I do.
And I'm sorry, did you want the public defender? Or are you going to hire a private lawyer?
Yes.
Okay, I'll point to PD. All right, here's what I'm going to do, Joe. On the driving on suspended, I'm going to set the bond at $2,000. On the registration at $500. That's a total of $2,500. But there's no doubt that the folks at probation are going to swear out a warrant for the violation of probation. And that will probably happen before the end of the week. When that warrant comes down, the bond on that will be no bond. So if you bond out on these charges today, the warrant's going to be no bond, and you might lose money because of that. So I just tell you that so that you can make that decision yourself. I can tell you that if you don't get out and you wind up doing some jail time for the VOP, I will give you credit for every day that you've been in since this arrest on the VOP, and I'm sure Judge Rupi would do the same thing if that's who sentenced you. In any event, this is $2,500. It will be back on the 6th of March. If you get out, you should be sure to tell the go see the public defender's office. All right? Thank you.
Okay.
Aaron Burke.
That's what I'll be heard on this one.
Burke, what's your date of birth?
January 7th, 1991.
Burke, we have a number of charges today. I have strong arm robbery, a battery on a law enforcement officer, resisting with violence, tampering or harassing a witness or victim, criminal mischief. I have a false imprisonment and a battery being domestic in nature, an ag battery, and a felony domestic battery by strangulation. Mr. Casiola, would you like
They're not
to
true.
Hang on a second.
Judge, we argue there's no PC on the robbery because if you look at the PC where the officer makes edits and writes in the...
You don't have to look at that one because there's a corrected one.
Okay, if you look at that one as well, Your Honor.
Sir, there's a few people with no PC.
Aaron, be quiet.
Sorry.
It talks about whether or not... It talks about that he grabbed the phone out of Alana's hand, but it doesn't say whether or not she was in fear, Your Honor. And we'd argue that there's no fear element and there's no force use.
Okay, anything else?
On second, Your Honor. There's also no force. There's no writing in here, Your Honor, that there was force used. That's it.
Okay. All right. And just so you guys know, there's 2 sets of paperwork on the first set of charges. And that's because the PC was messed up and we fixed it. Okay. In any event, I have, what do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9 charges. I'll find probable cause for the charges. As to those charges, Aaron, you want to represent yourself? You want to hire a private counsel? Would you like the public defender?
There's probable cause for all of them?
Just stay away from the microphone, Aaron. I'm sorry, what was your question?
There's probable cause for all of them?
Yes, sir. Would you like the public defender, or are you going to hire private counsel?
Public defender.
I'll point the PD, state, what can you tell me?
Let's see.
So all 9 charges are sticking. They're all bullshit.
Good to know.
Mr.
Almost
Burke,
all.
Mr. Burke, if you
This is
make
crazy,
one more
though. This is
statement,
really crazy.
Mr. Burke, be quiet. If you make one more statement that is not a direct response to a
There's false
question from me,
allegations against me.
Mr. Burke, we're now going into criminal contempt proceedings. Can you tell me any reason why I should not hold you in contempt for continuing to speak and interrupt me when I'm telling you not to? Hearing none, I'm going to find you in contempt and sentence you to 179 days in the county jail for contempt. Now, you will not speak again unless it is in response to a direct question. State, what can you tell me?
Bond is academic at this point, Your Honor, but there's a criminal mischief in 2009. He did just plead to a battery with the same victim in last summer, June 1st. Let's see, a burglary of a dwelling, 2012, possession of paraphernalia and possession of marijuana, 2012. Let's see, a couple of those. Burglary of a structure, 2012. Domestic battery by strangulation, 2015. Violation of pretrial release, 2015. Let's see. Criminal mischief, 2016. And, of course, the battery I was just telling you about in 2017.
Then what we're going to do is this. On the robbery, I'm going to set the bond at $10,000. On the bat Leo and resisting with violence, $5,000 each. On the tampering at $5,000. Criminal mischief at $1,000. False imprisonment, $2,000. Domestic battery misdemeanor at $1,000. The ag battery at $10,000, and the felony domestic battery by strangulation at $10,000. That's 10, 20, 30, 40, 45, $49,000 the way I count it. Condition of all those bonds is that you have no contact with the alleged victim, as you'll be doing the next 6 months in the county jail on your contempt charge. Then you will not have any contact with her via phone or via mail. If you have contact, that can subject you to further contempt. These charges are all coming back to court on the 6th of March. Mr. Burke, I'm going to let you ask a question in a moment, but be very careful because you've already been held in contempt once. If you say anything else silly or ridiculous like you have
I just want to
already,
apologize.
you could get more
I
contempt.
apologize.
So what is your question?
I just want to apologize, sir. I don't want to do 180 days for consent. I'm sorry.
I know you don't, but you're going to do sometime, and we will probably revisit your contempt sentence later, but not this morning. Thank you.
So you can revisit consent?
Jonathan Donofrio Crockett.
Yes, sir.
What's your date of birth?
11/7/91.
All right. Jonathan, I have 3 charges this morning. I've got 2 dealing in stolen property and 1 petty theft. There's probable cause for those charges. As to those charges, you want to represent yourself? You want to hire a private counsel? Would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
Appoint the public defender. State what can you tell me?
Let's see.
Crockett Donofrio or Donofrio?
Violation of probation in 2016. I think it was on a battery that happened in 2015. And let's see. That is all I can find right now.
Okay. Jonathan, I have an address for you on Peaceful Avenue in Brooksville. Is that where you live?
Yeah.
Okay. How long have you been there?
Couple months now. 6
Okay.
months.
Okay. Do you have a job these days?
No.
On the two dealing charges, I'm going to set the bond at $1,000 each. Those are both coming back on the 6th of March. On the petty theft, I'll leave it at $500. So your total bonds is $2,500. The petty theft will be coming back on the 2nd of March. If you get out, Jonathan, it's very important that you contact the public defender's office right away, okay?
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Michael Ferguson. Morning, Michael. What's your date of birth?
8/17/83.
All right, Michael. I have 3 warrants that were all signed by Judge Merritt. In each case, he found probable cause for violation of probation. We have a new arrest for burglary of a dwelling and a grand theft. And then finally, we have an arrest for an escape. There's, I guess it would be attempted escape more properly, but there's probable cause for all the charges. As to those charges, you want to represent yourself, you want to hire private counsel, would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
So, Michael, I'm going to appoint the public defender in all your cases. Obviously, the bonds on the BOPs are all no bond. I can't change those. Those cases, I'll send you back to see Judge Merritt on the 6th of March. On the new cases, the burglary and the grand theft, I'll leave the bonds for the schedule, which is $5,000 and $2,000 respectively. I will also have those come back on the 6th of March with your VOPs. And on the escape, I will set a bond of $2,000 and have that also come back on the 6th of March with all your other cases. Public defender is going to come see you at the jail, Michael, before your court date, okay?
All right.
Thank you. Terry Horner. Morning, Terry. What's your date of birth?
2/1981.
Terry, there's 2 charges this morning: battery on a law enforcement officer and attempting or depriving a law enforcement officer's protection or communication. There's probable cause for the charges. As to those charges, you want to represent yourself and hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the public defender. And state detail.
Let's see, he's currently got a charge 2017 CF 2178 by Judge Merritt Jr. on February 23rd of 2018.
Okay.
I have a recommitment order on that. And let's see, false name to law enforcement 2002. Judge Willis 2017. Let's see, in another state, assault with intent to rob. I'm sure where Bay City is. It's another state though. Let's see, another assault in, see what year, 2000, controlled substance possession in 2000, failure to stop after a collision and fleeing, and a DUI in 2007, controlled substance possession, and a bunch of other possession and a domestic battery, all of that in what year? Why can't I see what year this is? That's 2013.
Terry, I have an address for you on St. Andrews Boulevard in Brooksville. Is that where you live?
Yes, Your Honor.
How long have you been there?
3 years.
Sarah, what I'm going to do on these is leave the bonds for the schedule, which is $5,000 on the battery and $2,000 on the second charge, so total is $7,000. I'm going to move these to the 23rd of February where your other case is. And then as it appears that you picked up new criminal charges while out on bond, I'm going to revoke your pretrial release in 17 CF 2178. We're going to hold you without bond on that charge until the 23rd of February. Judge Merritt, I believe that is, can revisit your bond on that day if he wishes. The public defender is going to come see it in the jail before your court date, okay? Thank you. Fred Jones. Morning, Mr. Jones. What's your date of birth?
January 11th, 1981.
All right, Mr. Jones, you're here on a warrant signed by Judge Merritt. Apparently, you failed to appear in his court on a felony driving on a suspended license charge. As to that charge, you're going to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender, please.
I'll appoint the public defender. Judge Merritt set your bond at no bond. I can't change that. I'll send you back to see him on the 6th of March. The public defender is going to come see you at the jail, okay?
Yes, sir.
Oh, 3 9s, okay? Sorry, Fred, they want you back on March 9th.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Jamie Nix. Jamie, what's your date of birth?
2475.
First thing I have is a new arrest for possession of drug paraphernalia. Then we have a warrant that I signed. On that warrant, I found probable cause for keeping in place for the sale or manufacture of a controlled substance, the sale of heroin, possession of heroin, unlawful use of a two-way device, communication device, and possession of drug paraphernalia. There's a second warrant also that I signed, also with the same 5 counts. As to those charges, you want to represent yourself, you want to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD, State.
Grand theft of a dwelling, 98, 2 of those. Cocaine possession, 99. Resisting without. Let's see. Looks like perjury. Sorry about that. Took a little bit to find it. 99. Insufficient checks, 2000. Possession of cocaine, 2005. Possession of paraphernalia, 2005. Another cocaine. False to law enforcement, 2005. Resisting, 2005. Theft, 2007. Resisting, 2007. Possession of paraphernalia, 2008. And let's see. Theft in Columbus, Ohio. I'm familiar with that location in 2014. DUI. What year was that? In Georgia, that's a pretty old one. Pretty old stuff in Georgia when he used to live there. Furnishing, purchasing, and possessing alcoholic beverage to a person below age, 95. Bunch of old stuff in Georgia.
Okay. All right. And Jamie, I have an address now on Tampa Street in Brooksville. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir, it is.
How long you been there?
I've been there for about eight years, sir.
All right. And you have a job these days?
Yes, sir, I do.
What do you do?
I'm an electrician for McLeod Electric, sir. I just currently got the job. I was hoping to God you could find it in your heart to maybe pretrial release me or something so I could keep the job.
Okay. That's not something I can do with these kind of charges, unfortunately, Jamie. I'm going to leave your bonds per the warrants on the 2 felony warrants. That's a total of $30,000. Those are coming back on the 6th of March on the misdemeanor charge. It's $1,000. The total is $31,000. The misdemeanor is coming back on the 2nd of March. If you're able to bond out, you can go see the PD. If you can't bond out, they're going to come see you at the jail before you go to court, okay?
Yes, sir.
Jordan Ramsey. Morning, sir. What's your date of birth?
04/21/1998.
Jordan has 2 charges this morning, a burglary of a structure and possession of marijuana. There's probable cause for those charges. As to those charges, you want to represent yourself, you want to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD. State.
Out of state, we've got ag bat on a police officer in 2014. Let's see. Bunch of entries all on that. There's a resisting that came with that as well. Those are all in 2012. Domestic battery in 2012 as well. That's all in Illinois. That's it.
Jordan, I have an address for you on Oakdale Avenue here in Brooksville. Is that where you live?
Yes.
How long have you been there?
6 months.
Right. Do you have a job these days?
Not yet. Not at the moment.
Okay. I'm going to set your bond on the burglary at $1,000, on the marijuana at $500. Your total is $1,500. I'm going to have you back on the 6th of March. If you get out, it's very important that you contact the public defender's office, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. William, ready?
Sir.
Morning, William. What's your date of birth?
1/21/88.
All right, William, this is probable cause arrest for violation of probation. There is probable cause for the VOP. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You want to hire private counsel, which is like the public defender.
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD. Bond, of course, will be no bond. I'll have you back in court on March 6th. Public defender is going to come see you before you go to court, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. James Smith.
Yes.
Morning, Mr. Smith. What's your date of birth?
12/11/68.
Mr. Smith, you're here on account of aggravated assault. There's probable cause for the charge. As to the charge, you want to represent yourself. You want to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD. State.
All right. Smith. Stealing and stolen property way back in 1988. That is all I can find right now, Your Honor.
Okay. And James, I have an address for you on Edge Hill Avenue in Spring Hill. Is that where you live?
For now, yes.
Okay. How long have you been there?
3 months.
All right. Does Melissa live there as well?
Yeah, I gotta move.
I know. You have a job these days?
I got Social Security.
Okay. All right. So James, I'm going to set your bond at $2,000. Condition of the bond is you're not going to have any contact with Melissa, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. I also have to hold you up until 4 o'clock, so if she wants to serve you with an injunction, we know where to find you. And then you're right, you got to stay someplace else. You can go by when you get out. You can go to Edge Hill one time to get your things, but you got to call the sheriff's office first. They'll come by with a deputy who will meet you there, and then you can grab your things and get going wherever you're going. All right?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm going to have you back in court on March 6th. Get out. You should call the public defender's office. Okay?
How much will my bond be?
Your bond is $2,000. You can usually, I think, if you talk to a bondsman, it'll be about 10% of that, or $200.
All right.
All right. Good luck. Paul Thompson. Morning, sir. What's your date of birth?
4/17/88.
Mr. Thompson, the charge of battery being domestic in nature, there's probable cause for the charge. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself, you want to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD.
Oh, let's see. Dropped theft in 2006, and that is all I can find.
And Paul, I have an address for you on Covewood Drive in Spring Hill. Is that where you live?
I was until this incident whenever I just packed my stuff to leave the situation.
Okay.
So now I'm at 3116 Mel Court, Jacksonville, Florida.
Okay. Do you have a job these days?
Yeah, I do, but I mean, probably not if I can't get out here.
Okay. What were you doing for work, Paul?
I lay flooring for Lowe's.
I'm going to set your bond at $500. Condition of the bond is that you have no contact with Trina. Did you hear me explain no contact earlier?
Yes, sir, but we do have a kid together, and I do provide the diapers and her gas and usually everything that she does need.
Okay, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that, Paul. But I got to tell you that right now, even with the child in common, the onus is on you to not have contact. If there's a way to do those things without having contact, that's great. But understand that if you try to do something good like that, and then she decides to call and say, "Hey, he called me and had contact," you might wind up back in jail without bond. Okay?
Yes, sir. Is there any way we can make that a little lower? Because I came back down here Wednesday to turn myself in and wound up spending all of my money staying in a hotel waiting to turn myself in. And as soon as she called me last night and said no, that the officer was putting warrant out, I called right away and turned myself in.
I'm with you, Paul.
I'm
with you. It's as low as it can go. And I have to set a monetary bond on a charge like this. So that's the best I can do is the $500. I'm going to hold it till 4 p.m. So if she wants to serve you with an injunction, she can. I'll have you back in court on March 2nd. And when you get out, make sure you contact the public defender's office, okay? Thank you. Matthew Turner.
Don't shut your mouth. Shut up.
Mr. Turner, what's your date of birth?
8/25/85.
Mr. Turner, you're here on a warrant signed by Judge Rupi. Apparently you failed to appear in her court on a charge of driving on a suspended license. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD. State.
Now there's a probation officer who wants to take it.
Matthew, you interested in going on probation for this charge?
I'm already on probation.
Okay. All right. What else want to tell me, State?
Oh my God. Okay. Let's see. Guilty to DSP in 2004. Domestic battery 2009. Trespass 2012, that was dropped. Domestic battery 2015. And let's see. Possession of New Legend drug in 2017. That's all I can find right now.
And Matthew, I have an address for you on Hanley Drive. Is that where you live?
Yes.
How long you been there?
For 31 years.
Okay. You got a job these days?
Yes.
What do you do?
Construction.
Okay. We'll leave the bond for Judge Ruby's warrant, which is $1,000. We'll have you back in front of her on the 2nd of March. Very important if you get out that you contact the public defender right away, okay?
No.
And Your Honor, I don't know if there's a way we could get the jail to arrest him on his felony failure to appear.
Okay.
17 CF 815.
There's a pending warrant out there?
Yeah.
Okay, at the jail, there may be a felony FTA for Mr. Turner. If you could check that before he gets out.
Yes.
Thank you. Brian Velez. Brian, what's your date of birth?
9691.
Brian, you're here on a warrant I signed, found probable cause for violation of probation. In your case, I've had contact from the probation office this morning, and they told me that you had signed up for the DUI school and you're getting ready to get some of these things done. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to set a bond this morning at $500 so that you can bond out and keep your appointment for DUI school. I'm going to have you come back and see me. Let's see. On the 7th of March. And you're going to, when you come, you're going to tell me about how great things are going. The deal is, as you come to see me, I'm going to be asking you to tell me what progress you're making on the probation conditions. As long as you're making progress, I'll leave you out of jail. If you stop making progress or you just give up, then you might wind up back in jail. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. So $500. You'll be back on the 7th of March. Okay?
All right.
Thank you. Michael Walborn.
Yes, sir.
Wonder, Michael, what's your date of birth?
10/24/85, sir.
Michael, you're here on a warrant signed by Judge Merritt. He found probable cause for a violation of probation. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself, you want to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender, sir.
Appoint the PD. Michael, the bond on the warrant is no bond. Unfortunately, I don't have the ability to change that for you. I'll get you back in front of Judge Merritt on the 6th of March, and the PD will come see you before then, okay?
All right, sir. Thank you.
Your Honor, his girlfriend is here, and she's stating that, and I'm not sure what the basis of the BOP is, but she's stating that he's paid most of the fines and costs back. So I don't know if we could set him a little sooner, like
I can move him up.
if we can move him up a little bit. If that's the truth, then the judge might want to get him out of there sooner.
Okay. What's got a Judge Merritt day? It's earlier than the 6th of March.
Should be mid-February.
Okay. All right. 2:20. All right. Mr. Walborn, I moved you up to February 20th. Okay.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you. John Wentworth.
Yes, Your Honor.
John, what's your date of birth?
8578.
All right. John, first thing I have is a warrant that I signed. Apparently you failed to appear in my court on a charge of driving on a suspended license. And we have a new charge of resisting without violence. And then we have new charges of resist with violence, possession of methamphetamine, possession of marijuana, possession of drug paraphernalia. There's probable cause for the charges. As to the charges, you want to represent yourself, you want to hire private counsel, or would you like to be public defender?
Public defender, please.
I'll point the PD, state.
State's asking for a recommitment order on the cases you have here.
Which is? He's got an open case.
Let's see, 17 CP 3965.
Well, that's the one he was FDA.
Yes, so we're asking for a recommitment on that.
Well, he wasn't out on pretrial release is my problem.
Okay.
He was without release. He was just FDA.
Okay.
What else?
What else have I got? I got, let's see, I got all kinds of things. I got 2004 possession of meth, Willis, 2004 battery, 2004 introduction of contraband, 2005 possession of meth, 2008 paraphernalia, same year, marijuana possession, 2008 burglary through a structure, 2009 grand theft, 2009 escalating, or 2010 grand theft, possession of paraphernalia, 2012. Another one of those, and a repossession of paraphernalia that year. Burglary, 2013. Two of those, three of them actually, all occupied structures. And that's all I can find right now.
Okay. John, I've got an address for you on Peaceful Avenue. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long you been there?
All my life.
Okay. You got a job these days?
Yes, sir.
What do you do?
Tree service. Wentworth Tree Service.
Okay. On the FDA for the driving charge, I'll leave the bond for the warrant, which is the $2,000, and on the resisting, I'll leave the bond for Judge Neal's warrant, which is $1,000. The misdemeanors are coming back the 7th of March. Looks like they told you the 2nd, but the right date is the 7th.
7th.
Yep. On the felony charges, on the resisting with violence, I will set a bond of $2,000. On the possession of methamphetamine, $2,000. On the marijuana and the drug paraphernalia, $500 each. So that's a total on that case of $5,000. Your total all the way around is $8,000. The felony cases are going to come back on the 6th of March. So you got the 6th and the 2nd, the 7th. 6th and the 7th. If you get out, you should contact the public defender's office right away. If you can't get out, they're going to come see you at the jail, okay?
Okay, sir. I do have a bond on the, thank you.
I said bonds all the way around, yep. Very good. Thanks, folks.
Wait, guys.